Hi everyone, I'm Mike from E2B Studios. Today I'm going to be running through a little bit more about Matomo Analytics and specifically looking at how it can really help you drive the right changes for your website to support what your users are up to on the site to help them further. Now we're going to be starting from the pages part and going from here. Now on here, we've already looked at the transitions in the last video about where people are moving. However, if we want a more graphical view, we can also look at the page overlay. So this will do a bit of an iframe of our current site, and it'll show you where people are clicking on those interactions. So you can see people clicking on services, contact, home pages, service pages, services down here as well. And you can see where people are clicking on different elements to go from the site. So really cool little metric, and we can also see that these aren't being clicked on. So this now maybe we look at it and saying, actually, do we need to make modifications because people aren't using the system or they aren't using the options which we thought people may be using? We can also look at the transition in here for the different page views and how it works over time. We can even open the page overlay on here as well, so we can look at it in more depth. And we can also look at the open segment editor as well to see where people went through from these pages. We can even click on one, so if we go to the services page, for example, this will now load up and it'll show us where people have clicked on this page as well. So you can see people are clicking like 9% over onto this one, none clicked onto those, some more onto the lead generation, and bits on the web development terms and conditions. So you can see where people are clicking on those different pages and where they're moving from that journey into it. So yeah, really good examples to give you different ways to say, actually, this isn't being used the way we were hoping it be used, or people aren't clicking on those options, so do we need to change it? Do we need to make it more engaging? Or do we just remove it? Further onto those pages, we can look at things like heat maps. So we can manage our own heat maps and create more. Now heat maps, we've already created one, I'll go through that very shortly. So we can put a title on it, we can set how many pages we want to view, what's the target page, is it the home page, is it the contact page, is it whatever you guys think that is most relevant for your site that you want to start tracking. What sample sizes, do we want to exclude certain things, so we might want to hide certain CSS areas, we might not want to be able to see those, could be a profile picture or something like that. We can also go to the home. Okay, and we're just waiting for it to load up now. So we've got three different options here: click, move, and scroll. We can also look at different devices, so PC, tablet, or mobile. Seeing we don't really get much movement on tablets, but PC is pretty clear where we get our movement. What you can see now is where people are clicking on the website. So you couldn't get any more better analytics than this to find out where people are going and how people are using your website, because we can now see all these different points that people are selecting on the site, and most likely you can see a scroll bar being clicked on, services, contact, looks like they're just clicking on the text, and you can see where it's going and how they're using it. Okay, so a lot less activity, but then a little bit more near the bottom as well. Okay, so again, you can see how they've used that. We can also look at the move. So where people are moving their cursor around the screen, and generally it's a bit of a fairly okay indication to see this is where they've been looking at, because generally people follow the mouse as they're going through. So you can see where they're moving around on the screen and they're having activity. Okay, so you can see they're reading, they're clicking, they're looking, they're having a glance. A lot more interaction around the Google Ads management, a lot more about business cards and leaflet flyers. Quite a lot about our socials, so you can see where people are using it, and you can also look at different screen resolutions and screen sizes. This one I actually quite like is the scroll part of it as well. What people I don't think understand is generally when people create a website, they've got this really big website, there's loads of information, but actually how far are people getting down that website to really see the right content? So we see here, as you would imagine, 100% of people see the top of the website. Great. Further down, we can see 98% of people are seeing the featured projects. 67% have only just got to here, so we've nearly lost half of our users just by getting to the first section. Further down, still on 60%. Further down, we're on 40% now. 30%, 27%, 23%. So only 23% are getting to the bottom of your website, or at least on our site. You can look at these and look at it on your own site. So if you've only got 23% of people getting to the bottom, do not put the most important content of your site at the bottom, because if it's there, by the looks of it, most people aren't going to see it. And your site's probably longer than mine. Mine's relatively short to an extent, so you really want to make sure that you've got the right content in the right place and you want to move them up. Now, we've got our services near the bottom in our footer, but we've also got them scattered throughout for things like services here, or we've also got a navigational here as well to get those places. So heat maps are a really good indication to see where your people are utilizing your site. The next one we're going to look at, and the last one for today, is session recordings. So again, we can create more session recordings, very similar to the heat maps. So the page, how many sessions we want to record, what URL or multiple URLs that we might want to look at, what sample rate, do we want to set a minimum session time? So we might say, actually, I don't want to record anything unless they run my website for at least 30 seconds. Okay. We can then look at ours now. So we've just got ours record all of ours to have a real play with the data and make sure it's working the right way we would hope. We can see here the interaction that people are going through. So we can see a person went onto the James page, then moved on to blogs, about, and home. We can see this person went from blogs to people leave to blogs again. And we can see people went from about to privacy policy. So you can see a bit of a journey about how people are utilizing the site and what we want to do from there to look at it further. Now, if we go into it now and we can click on, let's have a look. So we go for this one. Yeah, let's go for this one. So we'll click on this one. So they went from our homepage to our services. So this one now does a recording, and you can see it running through the journey. You can see the mouse movements, where they're moving on the site, and basically looking at stuff. And it'll see where we'll go to the next page, and it'll do the exact same. It's going through the journey, and you can see where they're moving, what they're looking at, and what they're doing. A brilliant system that we can use to really show off what's going on the site and where they're looking at. And we can also see the same for another one. And you can see where they're going through the site, and you can see how they're transitioning through the journey, selecting the different options, or reading the blog posts, what pages they've gone to, where they've scrolled, and what information that they're looking at. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.